Four.
Hello all, my name is Paulie Dillon, and alongside Matt Dean, Tommy Liu, and Tricia Schneider, we are Group 8. This week, we are excited to present to you all the why, what, and how of management innovation. Many organizations have formal methodology for product innovation, focus on R&D, and works to reinvent its business processes for the sake of speed and efficiency. However, only a few companies apply a similar degree of diligence to the management innovation. Management innovation can be defined as a marked departure from traditional management principles, processes, and practices, or a departure from customary organizational forms that significantly alter the way the work of management is performed. Typical managerial work includes setting goals and laying out plans, motivating and aligning effort, coordinating and controlling activities, accumulating and allocating resources, acquiring and applying knowledge, building and nurturing relationships, and understanding and balancing the demands of outside constituencies. Put simply, management innovation changes how managers do what they do. In a way, big organization, the only way to change work is to reinvent the process that governed that work. While operational innovation focuses on a company's business processes, management innovation targets a company's management process. On the next slide, we will look at some examples. General Electric, DuPont, Procter & Gamble, Visa, and Linux shows us all that yes, all these organizations make great products, have great people, and great leaders, but the real success comes from their fundamental approach of management innovation. General Electric brought management discipline to the chaotic process of scientific discovery since the early 1900s. Procter & Gamble in the 1930s began to formalize its approach to brand management. Linux brought the management innovation of open source development. These management breakthroughs delivered potent advantages to the innovative company and produced large shifts in industry leadership. In comparison, technology and product innovation tend to deliver small caliber advantages. A management innovation creates a long-lasting advantage when it meets one or more of the three conditions. The innovation is based on a novel principle that challenges management orthodoxy. It is systematic, encompassing a range of processes and methods. And lastly, it is part of an ongoing program of invention where progress compounds over time. The reading cites examples of how Toyota has harnessed its employees' intellect versus American automakers, resulting in relentless improvement across all levels. Or Whole Foods, which focuses on building a community and granting autonomy with store-level decisions that is unprecedented at retail. Whole Food goes as far as granting 94% of the company's stock options to non-executives. I will now turn the presentation over to Tricia on how to become a management innovator.
Thanks, Polly. So this article talks about 4 principles for becoming a management innovator. And the first 2 principles that they mention include committing to a big problem and finding novel principles to create solutions. The commitment to a big management problem includes putting yourself in the mindset that you can tackle something big and going in with the clarity that it is going to require thinking out of the box. The authors of this article suggest 3 questions to help you determine a big problem that you can help solve through innovation and reimagination. These questions include, what are the tough trade-offs that your company never seems to get right? What are the big organizations bad at? And what are the emerging challenges the future has in store for your company? These questions should help you to begin to discover a large problem that can start to revolutionize the way your company looks at management. On the next slide, the second element of becoming a management innovator involves seeking new principles to find new approaches to solve the problems. Obviously, the big problems wouldn't be big problems if they were easily solved. So in order to find the innovative solutions, one must think about new approaches. The authors of this article suggest looking towards innovators to inspire thought and creativity and shift the mentality away from the past. Additionally, they suggest focusing on creating a community of idea sharing and stepping away from the executive monarchy structure that is so prevalent with large organizations today. Organizations that have succeeded at this include companies like Habitat for Humanity and, as mentioned, Whole Foods, who developed a community of inspired leaders who build each other up and share the burden of innovation and creativity. I'll now pass it off to Tommy, who will talk about the next two principles of management innovation.
Thanks, Tricia. To fully appreciate the power of new management principle, you must loosen the grip of precedence has on your imagination. While some of what you believe may be scientific certainty, much of it isn't. Painful as it is to admit, a lot of what passes for management wisdom is unquestioned belief, pretending to be unquestionable truth. As what Mary Parker Follett believed that management was the art of getting things done through people, she emphasized powering with rather than powering over. Few far-sighted management tenets involve this creative experience. The first one is leadership. Leadership is not defined by the exercise of power, but by the capacity to increase the sense of power among those who are led. The most essential work of leader is to create more leaders. Decision-making. Adversarial, win-lose decision-making is debilitating for all concerned. Contentious problems are best solved not by imposing a single point of view at the expense of all others, but by striving for higher-order solution that integrates in the diverse perspective of all relevant constituents. Self-governing. A large organization is a collection of local communities. Individual and institutional growth are maximized when those communities are self-governing. So what's the lesson for would-be management innovators? History suggests that many projects will fail to deliver their expected returns. So is there a way to guarding against the hubris and optimism that so often inflated investment expectations? One potential solution would be to create a market for judgment that harness the wisdom of a cross-section of employees to set odds on project anticipated return, to readjust and reevaluate the odds of projects anticipated return based on the employees' feedbacks. And transparency of the process will reduce the chance of investment decisions being overly influenced by the sponsor's power or personal persuasiveness. Next, I'll turn over to Matt for conclusion.
All right, thanks, Tommy. Where the rubber meets the road. Here we'll discuss what you can take away from this reading about management innovation to start applying today in your own work environment. To apply management innovation, the first thing to do is simply start asking questions to tackle the status quo. What is the current process? Who owns the process? What are the drivers of the current process along with the metrics for success? And there are many more questions you can look for and ask. The takeaway here is understanding what is being done and why it is being done a certain way. Next, you can start to assemble a team with various interests and viewpoints that will assess the management challenge you are trying to solve. The idea is to get people who have a stake in the process who can provide valuable feedback. We are sure to reveal some thoughts on the current process and management challenge that is unknown to the team and the organization currently. When starting off, however, it is important to start small, or at least with innovations that will not rock the boat too much. You start small and gain the trust of others without disrupting the entire organization is key. The goal with the implementation of management innovation is to build innovation within your team and organization for the long term, so as to elevate your organization above others. To wrap up and conclude, management innovation is a methodical approach which focuses on committing to big management problems, implementing novel principles to create new solutions and approaches, all while challenging core management principles. These core management principles do not vary much from company to company and across industry, and as such, challenging these sometimes archaic management principles, which at one point were revolutionary and served companies and industries very well, provides a ripe opportunity for companies to create new approaches that will lift them above competitors and counterparts. As a team, our high-level perspective on management innovation is that we agree that new and innovative management techniques and principles are welcome and should be encouraged and cultivated within teams and organizations today. But organizations should not lose sight of what has been the foundation for success over the past several decades. Trying to innovate for the sake of innovation is not ideal. Trying to innovate for the sake of solving unique problems and challenging the status quo is the goal. As the reading pointed out, novel problems demand novel principles. Thanks for listening.